Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And after my initial shafting and then my short summon video, we are sitting at a 92 Violet. And I do have the ability to get her up to 100 if I so choose to, and I'll still have some left over. But we're going to use her at level 92 today instead of being a wanked out version of her. I don't know why I just exited out, but I think that she can be pretty good in a couple different scenarios under a couple different protectors. So I mean, we know what she does. You watch the stream, you watch the Should You Summon. We know that she's a single target. We know that she gives herself guaranteed crit and guaranteed pierce, which is pretty good if she's going to be a selfish DPS. She also can stack some more burn, which on top of Hero and Benimaru's burn, you can get some pretty decent damage out of that. And then buffs her own attack by 20%. And then, you know, protection trait. Every 2 turns you get 5 points, which is pretty good. I like those traits. And then if I decide to get her up to 100, we'll add, we'll get up to 480% ult damage. So, I mean, that's a pretty significant jump right there. We'll see. But we're going to go ahead and take her into a few different stages. I'm not going to do Conquest because it'd be a joke. It would die in like 2 turns. So I think we're just going to relegate this to the challenge quest and tempered edge, because that's really the only place that we can use her to her maximum potential without things dying too fast, because we tried that with Benimaru and everything died too fast. So yeah, let's go ahead and start it up. Alright, so the first stop on the Violet Showcase is going to be the new unexpected quest against herself. So, I mean, we're supposed to use the fire team. There's a whole bunch of missions using a full fire team, using 3 attack changing skills, using Hero, 9 turns or less, I think, and a couple other things. Full hand of green. So we'll try and shoot for those, even though we've already done them, just to show that this team can definitely do it. Milim is here. She's going to be the most replaceable unit once the 3rd banner comes out, because Guy still has his alt buff. That's definitely effective. But Milim is giving crit to everybody, which, if we're going to only be focusing on Violet for DPS, she already gives herself crit for 15 points instead of 55 points. So that opens up the field to use a lot more other skills to really increase maybe the burn damage that we can get. But she's here right now because we don't have the 3rd unit, and she's still like an okay single target damage dealer. So let's start this off. Alright, so what do we got? We got 4 guys. We got 3 blues and a green coming, so I think we can run with that. Let's get Guy out of here for Violet, and then we can swap Hero for Benimaru, even though he doesn't have any orbs, which is fine. We're going to send these blues just so we can see if maybe we can get a full hand of greens next turn. And then, get that mission done. 5,500 damage? No. It'd be good if we had maybe Milim here for her ult boost, but it is what it is. We'll send Benimaru. Okay. Alright. Hopefully, we can make this work. So, let's do... Do we want to use the burn now? Or the orb change now? We'll change that 1 orange, but we can use Toa now. I don't know if we want to use Benimaru's burn yet. Let's not. Let's use this burn. Let's use attack buff. Let's use the orange damage and the 400% physical fire. Okay, so 15-6 is a pretty decent chunk of damage on the instant. And then let's use Toa. So that'll change the entire hand to oranges, which will then be boosted by 50%. So Violet has her personal attack buff for 20%. She's got the trait from Toa for 4%, so 24% attack. We've got guaranteed crit, guaranteed pierce, and an extra 8% crit damage from the charm that I have on Toa. So this probably will do pretty good damage. And then on top of that, we can bring Hero in for Benimaru. No, let's get her out. So let's do this. And then we can change these other 3 to Violet, and then we can put another stack of burn on. So now we're at 34% burn. With all those buffs, with all of this, and let's see how much damage we do with this, and then how much burn damage we get out of it afterwards. So we get 19k on these normals, and then the 200% orb does 38k, and the burn hits for 50k right there. That is quite a bit of damage. Perfect. Okay, so now, perfect. We still have all of her attack buffs, because the attack buff is for 2 turns, the crit and the pierce is for 3 turns. We still have the 20% burn from Benimaru, or from her, so then we can put actually Benimaru's 20% burn here, and then that'll give us a full hand of greens, and then we still technically have enough points to do Hero's burn again, which is also lowering physical resistance. So that's now 54% burn. So, I mean, even if she were to live from this ult, I mean, we would do a significant chunk of damage because of this entire hand. The only thing is that these are obviously not oranges, so they're not going to be boosted by that extra damage, if we could even use that skill. But she does 49.7, and then we have some follow-up here. So, I mean, based on that, we would have done, just from the ult, at least 22k on the burn, just from the ult burn. So I'd say that's pretty good. So let's, I mean, that's not very challenging. That's obviously not a big enough health pool. But we can move into Tempered Edge and then really show off that burn. So let's get that started. Alright, so the whole goal of this right here is obviously to beat EX2, which we can do. But I also want to have that turn where we have as many stacks of burn as possible. I want all the buffs, I want an entire hand of Violet, and I want the ult buff from Guy. And I want that to work out in a way that we can see how much of the maximum damage we can do right now, and then how much additional burn damage we get out of it. So we're just going to work towards that. So here we're going to bring in Benimaru for Hero, and then Violet for Guy, since Guy has another orb coming. So we're guaranteed at least one more orb for her. Let's use the burn here. And then we'll go ahead and send this. So this is 20% burn. 30, 43, 47. Okay, fairly good damage. 12k on the crit, and the burn does 6,800. So not great, but it is what it is. But we have an entire hand of Violet naturally, with an extra one coming. That's 7 Violet orbs in a row. Okay, this is perfect. All right, so let's begin boosting. All right, so the only thing is that we can't really use Toa because we're not really going to change a lot. But they're all Violet orbs anyways, so we can probably do it. So we've got 1 burn, so let's use the instant damage. Let's use her crit and pierce. Let's get her burn on and her attack buff. So 12-3, not as much as we got from the Violet stage, but it is what it is. So that's fine there. Then let's use Hero for Millum, and let's put his burn on. Okay. And then, do we use Toa here? Like, I don't really actually know if we should use Toa. We have all the things that we would be able to use right now. We're going to have an ult for her next turn, plus a whole bunch of points. So I think we actually chill here. We're going to miss out on, you know, a whole hand of oranges that are buffed, but we can do that next turn probably. So we'll send that last orange by itself for that 200% buff, and this is 54% burn. Pretty significant. So 11k per normal, and then the 200% orb that's also boosted because it's orange does 33k, and the burn is 52k damage right there. That's pretty good. So, and my video's done. All right, so what do we have to use now? We have the attack buff still. We have the crit and pierce buff still. We have 2 burns, which we can put another one on. Let's see. Let's use... Alright, so we need to make sure we have enough for 55-point ult buff in the back. So let's do an orb change there, another burn. No, that will not. No, we cannot use another burn. So let's do this burn. So that'll be 60% burn then. Yeah. And then, nope, can't use that either. So... okay. And then let's get Hero out for Guy. Because we can't use anything else, right? No. If we had a little bit more, we could have used a whole, like, maybe a couple other burns. But we'll make do with it. So... we'll get Hero out. We'll use the ult buff here. After we use Toa, sorry. So that'll be a full hand of oranges. Unfortunately, they won't have that extra 50% buff, which is a hefty amount of damage, actually. But we can see how much damage we can do with, fully buffed up Violet and the ult buff for 50% and everything, plus a full hand. So this is going to do tremendous damage. And it's also going to do probably a tremendous amount of burn because we've got 60% right here. So let's send the ult, and then let's send Benny, and then Violet, Violet, Violet. And this will be probably pretty funny. So 76k. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's respectable. But her final hit does another probably 33. No, 25, because we don't have that 50%. But the burn is 78k right there. So, I mean, that's still pretty significant, right? We've got 85 points, so we can then use maybe... let's see, what are we missing? She still has her Pierce and Crit, and then we can use another burn for 20%. Alright, we can use... we can get Guy out of here. We're not going to worry about his ult buff anymore. We can use Hero's Burn, so that's going to be 74% burn. We can use Toa, give us 40 skill points plus a whole hand of oranges, and now we can use the instant damage plus the 50% boost on the oranges. So let's see how much these normal oranges do. And actually, do we do that, or do we send the ult? Because it'll do 76k, and he will live that. But then we're gonna do a huge chunk of that. Yeah, we're 74% burn. I mean, this ult will kill. Between the damage that we do, probably. Well, because we don't have the ult buff, so it's not gonna do 78k. Let's do this. Let's just send these two ults. Hopefully it doesn't kill, but it might kill. So Benny Mar's going to lower the defense on Clayman. He's probably going to do like 30k? 20k. Okay, good. Good. And then she does 46k, and then the burn does 59.5, and it actually kills. So, I mean, that wasn't very hard. That didn't require too much RNG, especially since the first hand is guaranteed greens. That's pretty good damage right there. So let's see. What can we do to make her even stronger in this stage? Not if we didn't care about the burn, because maybe you didn't pull Benimaru. I mean, everyone should have Hero. Maybe you pulled Violet because you like her. So let's try and just get a super big mommy damage turn out of her and see what she can actually hit in a setup for that. Okay, so it took me a while to figure out what team I want to use to get her some wanked out damage. Like, because I could use Dark Valentine for like a permanent 60% buff, but I ended up going with this. So we have Space Rimuru for a 40% attack buff instead of her 20%, which seems redundant, but whatever. We've got Carrion here for his 20% crit damage, which will stack alongside the 8% crit damage charm that I have on Toa. We've got a 70% ult buff from Dark Milim, and then Violet has her own like guaranteed pierce, guaranteed crit. We have a 34% burn going on right now between Hero and Violet, and we've got the physical resistance down. So let's check out how much damage we can do on this turn with, you know, one alt and an orb that's not going to matter towards the burn, but then a pretty boosted alt and then 3 other orbs. So let's go ahead and do that. Pop, 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 pop. And we'll see how much burn damage this is and how much actual damage we get out of Violet here. So Milim does 18k. Violet does 103k. 103k is fairly okay. Was that 15k on that orb? And then the final hit does 30k for a 58k burn. That's pretty good. But now I want to go back to the fire team, and I want to get that entire hand of boosted everything without bringing units of a different typing. And I think that will probably end it for the showcase, because I think we've seen what she can do. I just want to see the maximum output right now. Okay, after many, many, many attempts of getting the perfect setup, we have achieved it. So, we have 3 stacks of burn on Clayman, so we're at 54% burn. We have a whole bunch of debuffs on him. We've got the trait from Ifrit, which doesn't matter because he's not guarding, but we've got the crit resistance down, we've got the physical attack resistance down, and we've got the fire resistance down. We've got 20, 40, 54% burn. We have the alts buffed by 50% down here. And then we have an entire hand minus the alt for Benimaru of Violet, who also has her own attack buff. She has should have the charm right here, alright. And then we've got the crit, pierce, and attack buff. So the only thing that we were missing would have been, I think, the trait from Toa. Why isn't that not here? Why is that not here? Okay, well, okay, so we're missing like 4% attack. Maybe not the perfect turn, but we're going to send Benimaru's ult first because it's going to lower his defense, which means that we're going to hit even harder. And then we'll see how much this does. I expect to maybe hit over 100k. I don't know. 31k there is not great, but she hits 81k. All right. 19, 19, 19, and 39k, and then the burn does 121k damage right there. So, yeah, I'd call that pretty dang good. If we get another unit that can, you know, buff up the fire attack even more, put another debuff on, maybe if we have both those traits, maybe we could put light Rammers in there. I don't know, but I think we're looking good. So I think she's pretty good. There's her showcase. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.